Hi, everyone. Happy Monday, and welcome to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight Podcast powered by CKREU. I'm your host, Sarah Brookbank. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Michael McGrath of Sure Drive Driving School. He talks about the importance of safe driving education on the community. Thank you to our podcast sponsor, CKREU, Google and Amazon advertising experts. Now let's go hear from our sponsor, meet our members of the week, and I'll be back with Michael.
Ranking on Google Search and Maps is easy to understand, but hard to do. It requires constant effort and attention, uploading new photos, responding to Google reviews, writing weekly posts, and checking suggested updates. Google listing optimization takes experience and time, and there are no shortcuts. CKREU gives your Google My Business account the steady, consistent attention it needs to be effective, optimizing, updating, and expanding critical content every single week. From local retail stores to large regional networks, CKREU generates content, establishes benchmarks, and creates dramatic, measurable increases in engagement. So what can CKREU do for your business? More calls, more clicks, more clients.
Congratulations to our members of the week. You can learn more about these businesses by following the Northern Kentucky Chamber on social media, where we highlight one of these businesses each day. Now, let's meet our members of the week. The Aaron Smith team at eXp Realty is a top producing real estate group serving Northern Kentucky since 2010. Located next door to Megacorp Pavilion, Market Bar Ovation is Newport's newest neighborhood bar. Everyone loves saving money. Customize an insurance coverage plan that helps protect what's important to you with M.H. Smith Insurance and Financial Services, Inc. Tokyo Pie was built for the bold, for the ones chasing flavor, neon nights, and unforgettable moments. Northern Kentucky Community Action Commission promotes, educates, advocates, and provides equitable service to elevate the quality of life for those in the community. Hi, everyone. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Michael McGrath of Sure Driving School. Michael, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I am excited to have you on. You took over Sure Drive a couple of years ago, but it's a legacy business. What has it been like taking over?
So we bought the business in 22. Before that, we've always worked for a company. So it was kind of my first time owning a business, running a business, all at the same time of trying to uphold a business that's been around 25 years and keep their standard alive, as well as kind of put my spin on it and rebrand it to me versus the last 25 years or so.
Yeah, so there is a lot that goes into that. We know our small business owners do everything above and beyond. How has it been? You said it's your first time, owning your own business. How has that been? What do you find is the difference in between owning the business and leading the business?
There's a lot that goes into it. There's, when you work at a company, when you have a question, there's always somewhere else to go. There's always someone above you. There's always a boss. There's always a leader. Well, when you own, especially a small business, you're it. There's no go ask somebody else, or there's no report that to somebody else. Everybody comes to you with their problems, whether it's an employee, whether it's a mechanic for the vehicle, whether it's a customer. You are the end all be all of that company. So there is a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah.
People think, oh, you own your own business. That must be great. You can golf whenever you want. You can do this. Well, yeah, but at the same time, I'm also sometimes sitting there at 2 a.m. like, how's payroll getting paid? Oh, I got to put a new engine in that car, and I have to, So there's a lot of things that I have learned on the fly, so to speak.
I'm so sure. And on top of that, you are teaching this next generation how to drive, which I can only imagine is also stressful in and of itself.
Yes, it is. Today we have so many distractions where, when the riches started back in the 80s, you didn't have cell phones. You didn't have, any music or people or podcasts or anything at your fingertips at all time. And there's just so much more to pay attention to. And it's almost like driving. It doesn't always get taken as seriously as it should.
Yeah. And I think the craziest thing about cars is like it's almost like you have like a whole tablet in the car now. We joke about my husband has like a newer RAV4 and it's just right there. It's a nice little it's got Apple TV basically in this car.
Exactly.
So tell us before we kind of get into like the whole nitty-gritty of like driving education and things like that. Tell us about the services that you guys offer over at Sure Drive.
So right now we pretty much will take your student or your child from getting their temps all the way to passing their test. Um, we can kind of do it a la carte. You can do one lesson at a time, but our most popular one is the three lesson package that gets you your certificate of completion for your insurance discount and all that. But really, the steps, the first lesson, we kind of get them out and kind of just get a feel for what they know and what they don't know, and then kind of can we get them on the interstate right away? Do we need to do city driving? Do we need to do back roads? And then usually by our second lesson, we're down practicing on the course and we're kind of showing them where you'll be doing your turnabout and where you'll be doing your parallel parking. And then our third lesson typically is we pick them up from whether it be home, school, work, wherever, and we go down, we practice for an hour, and then we take them to their test. And we do all the scheduling. We schedule all tests, all lessons, so you don't have to. I'm the one sitting there at 8 o'clock trying to book the test. You don't have to worry about any of that. And we're not limited to teenagers either. We do adult driving. We get a lot of people that come from other countries that, obviously their license doesn't transfer over. So we deal with a lot of them. We do a lot with the non-for-profit agencies and get a lot of foster kids going through. Some kids that don't necessarily have a mom or a dad or anything to really show them driving. So we do a lot of that as well.
Yeah. When you're talking about driver's education, what do you think is the biggest misunderstanding? What do people get wrong when they're thinking about it?
I think everybody thinks that the parallel parking is way harder than it is.
Yeah.
When we show you our little what to line up and how to line it up, the 99% of the time the kids are like, "That's it." It's like, yeah, and they always overhype themselves in their head. They think it's going to be this big drawn out test, and I try to tell them all the time, take a deep breath. You're a good driver. You know what you're doing. And 5 minutes later, when the test's over, they're like, I don't know why I got so much anxiety about that. That was fine. So I'd say that's people think it's a lot worse than it is.
Yeah, I think everyone who parallel parks in any capacity should get a refresher, should take a deep breath before they start.
Right.
I will say the invention of a backup camera has just been, it's a godsend.
It certainly helped, but in that same capacity, it's kind of hurt the amount of kids, the amount of people where I'm like, use your mirrors or use your back window, I'm like,
line it up.
Yeah, we try to. The camera should be your backup. No pun intended.
Yeah.
It should be your backup. It shouldn't be your go-to.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And one of the things, it's not just passing that's important. You guys say that the confidence and the safety matters the most. What goes into that? How are you instilling that in these young drivers?
So there is a lot to driving other than just passing the test. I was looking at some stats before I came today, and just in northern Kentucky alone, just Boone, Kenton, and Campbell County, we average, I think, just around 60 fatalities a year, just in our three little counties. And it went through the streets, the Madison Avenue, the Double A. So, there are roads that we drive all day, every day. And yes, we teach you how to parallel park and how to do your turnabout and stuff like that. But let's face it, you're not parallel parking and you're not doing a turnabout all the time. But what you are doing is, looking for your blind spots, making sure you're not driving in a semi's blind spot, learning how to merge into traffic, learning how to, when you have two lanes turning at the same light, staying in your lane and lane placement. And there's driving's the most unsafe thing you can do, and you do it on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's so many distractions to you're on a long drive. Oh, I'm just going to see who that Facebook message was. And there's just so many distractions. And that's one of the big things that we try to instill and teach aside from the maneuvers you're going to do on the test and things like that.
Yeah, when you're talking about the impact on the community, when you have safer drivers, more educated drivers out there, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it happens all the time. I'll run into somebody that I don't necessarily know or whatever at a football game and say, "Oh, you had my daughter out, and she would have she had so much anxiety about merging onto the interstate or whatever, and you guys were able to calm her down in that aspect." And I think just the more people that actually sounds terrible know how to drive, the better off we are. Every day you run into, I'll be on lessons and there'll be grown adults, and I'm like, don't do that, watch out for that. Don't trust a turn signal. That guy could have had his turn signal on for 5 miles. Just because it's on doesn't mean you can pull out in front of them.
Yeah.
Yes, it'll be their fault, but you'll still be in an accident. So, not saying all kids have to go through a driving school. There's more than just sure drive around, but just having that concept of safe driving. You can go 90 miles an hour on the interstate. Probably only want to shave off 4 minutes of your commute. There's no sense of weaving in and out of traffic, going 80 miles an hour, because it's already dangerous enough, and you're upping your chances of something happening.
Yeah.
So it's the more people that will understand safe driving techniques, the better off the area would be.
Sure. I agree on that for sure. As someone who can be a little bit of a nervous driver in my big age, in my 30s now.
Right.
And Michael, it's been so great to talk to you. I have 2 final questions for you.
Okay.
One, how can people get in touch?
So they can call us at 859-331-0007. Our Facebook page, Sure Drive Training, or our website, suredrivetraining.com. You can actually go to our website. You can see how far out we're booked. You can schedule on there, or if you want to hear Johnny's voice, you can call and schedule with him.
Okay, that's so great. And then the second question, I think for everyone out there listening to this, like you said, driving is one of the most dangerous things that you do every single day. Do you have one big tip for people, drivers of all ages, all skill levels?
Yes, and it doesn't pertain to just driving. Slow down and just take your time. There's an Alabama song that's "We're in a hurry to get things done, like rush and rush till life's no fun." There is no reason to, if you're not passing somebody, stay in the slow lane, go the speed limit, and you'll get there when you get there. If you gotta leave 20 minutes early, leave 20 minutes earlier. And you'll be amazed how much your anxiety level will come down when you're like, I just listened to the radio and went the speed limit in the slow lane, and I let everybody pass me, and you're fine. That's what I would say. Just slow down and take it easy.
Well, that is really great advice, Michael. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Last question before I let you go. Is there anything else that you think our viewers and listeners need to know about you or about Sure Drive Driving School?
No, I think you pretty much nailed everything. If they have any other questions, like I said, they can visit our website. There's pretty much anything you can think of on there. We have prep questions for your
the written exam.
Yeah, the written exam. We have, like I said, our schedule is on there. We have links to the state where you can schedule your tests. Pretty much any questions they have, they can either find them there, or you can get a hold of us through there to answer them for you.
Okay, well, great. Well, Michael, thank you so much for your time today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you to our Investors Circle members. Our Investors Circle members help us promote and support the development of strong businesses and a vibrant economy in the Northern Kentucky region. Thank you to all of these members for their investment, which will help the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce in our mission to develop and grow a thriving business community. Northern Kentucky needs tailored solutions to address our housing shortage. Home for All, Northern Kentucky Housing Strategies, explores how we can retain young adults, help older residents downsize or age in place, and ensure new neighbors have housing options that fit their lives. Dive into the report at housingNKY.org. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode as we delve a little deeper into the importance of safe driving. We have an exciting chamber event coming up later on in the month. Eggs and Issues State of Higher Education in Northern Kentucky is happening on Tuesday, March 17th. Attendees will gain a comprehensive look at priorities, innovations, and emerging opportunities from leaders shaping the educational landscape in Northern Kentucky. In addition, this month's event will feature a festive Irish breakfast and beverages in celebration of St. Patrick's Day. You can register to join us at nkychamber.com/events. Thank you once again to our podcast sponsor, CKREU, Google and Amazon advertising experts. And finally, if you are a member who would like to be featured on the podcast, or if you're someone who is interested in joining the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, please reach out to Lynn Ablin. And if you're a member who would like to share your workforce strategies and resources on our Talent Strategy Spotlight, please reach out to Nancy Spivey. You can find their contact information on the screen in front of you or at our staff directory at nkychamber.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys next week.